A YouTuber by the name of Pastra has been working on a series called Dreams of an Insomniac, DOAI for short. The second main volume has just been released. Even though the episode was titled Volume 1, it counts as the second main volume, as DOAI Volume 0 was the first episode of the series. The episode revolves around an Alex Williams, a character first introduced in Volume 0. In this episode, he is revealed to be a past worker of the Lankman Foundation. This was an asylum to help people who have encountered the Veltgen. Think of Clyde. Anyways, this foundation was giving donations to the ECPD, East Ridge County Police Department, which at first just seems like charity. But it soon becomes way worse as we get into the meat of this discussion. Now, this next episode is chock full of disturbing ideas and insane reveals. So this will be an analysis on these things: the caretakers, the hallucinatory goggles, Specimen 02, and most importantly, the Among Us. I'm not lying about that last one. I'll explain once we get to that point. Anyways, let's begin. The caretakers. The first thing we will talk about are the caretakers. These people are workers of the Lankman Foundation. They wear yellow masks and goggles as described by someone in Volume 1. These people take others who are suspected of having Veltgen sickness from their homes and bringing them to the Lankman Foundation. However, remember those donations that the Foundation was giving to the ECPD? Well, in an archived call we see in the tape, a distressed woman is contacting the police about these caretakers coming to her home, even though she has no symptoms of Veltgen sickness. This officer hears about the description of the intruders and hangs up. This is most likely due to the donations that the Foundation gave the ECPD. They're basically bribing the officers and police department to not interfere with their work. Did I tell you this is the tamest of ideas to explore in the episode? Yeah, it gets wild. Hallucinatory goggles. The Lankman Foundation issued goggles to their workers. These goggles prevent visual and auditory hallucinations for the workers, as they deal with patients that may have encountered the Veltgen. And as we know, the Veltgen can warp your vision and hearing if you are in close proximity to it. However, these goggles aren't protecting anyone from hallucinations. In fact, they make hallucinations. Let me explain. One night in the Lankman Foundation, Alex Williams decided to host an interview with the woman that we talked about in the last segment. However, the person that made the foundation, Herbert Lankman, found the interview taking place and shot it down. Alex Williams looked at that footage countless times. But then he saw something. A camera in a corner of the room. A camera he had never seen. Then he realized the goggles were hiding elements of the Foundation from the workers. And this also segues nicely into our next segment, Specimen 02 and Room 66. Specimen 02. In the interview Alex Williams hosted, he asked the woman where the caretakers took her when they found her, and she said, Room 66. Alex was confused by this, as there were only 65 rooms in the asylum. But when he realized the goggles hid elements of the asylum from the workers, like cameras, Alex says that Room 66 was, and I quote, scarily possible. One night, he walked down the long hall of the Foundation, and when he got to the end of the hall, he saw 2 doors. Each door had a 6 on it, reading 66. When he opens the door, something is seen on the ground. I assume this to be the woman, as seconds later, in her voice, she says, help me. However, near the corpse are 2 large shapes, and when Alex looks up, he sees a demonic face with large curling horns and a purple body. Winfrey. Looks like someone wandered somewhere they aren't supposed to be. Alex Williams turned. He saw none other than Herbert Lankman, in his true form, a disheveled man, a husk of what he once was after being attacked by a Veldigan. Okay, if you are not an avid Pastor fan, you probably are asking, the hell is Winfrey? Well, Winfrey is a Veldigan like Clyde. According to some potentially outdated information, Winfrey killed and consumed a musician named William Winfrey. Where he gets his name from? He was animalistic and stood to be about 14 feet tall. Now, why did I mention William Winfrey? Well, coming back to Volume 1, people in the asylum apparently heard distorted music coming from the walls. Because he consumed a musician, he gained a love for music and wanted to travel the world before being caught by the Lankman Foundation. For more potentially outdated info, Herbert Lankman wanted to use Winfrey as an experimental therapy machine, and this explains why the woman in Volume 1 was sent to Room 66 multiple times. But anyways, back to Volume 1. Now, why am I calling this Specimen 2 when its name is Winfrey? And if there's a Specimen 2, where is Specimen 1? Well, to answer the first question, in the soundtrack of this episode, the song that plays when Winfrey gets revealed is called Specimen 02. Now, for the second question, what is Specimen 1? I assume this to be Clyde, as it was the first Veldigan revealed to us in the first 3 episodes. For some more information that may be outdated, Clyde and Winfrey are a Veldigan pair. There are 6 of these creatures, and each are paired with another. Winfrey is paired with Clyde, as I touched upon. Jack is paired with Klaus, and Simon is paired with the Flock. We have only seen Winfrey and Clyde, so you don't need to know much about the other 2 pairs. Anyway, Clyde consumed Clyde Lankman, Herbert Lankman's father, and because we see the asylum that Clyde Lankman worked on in Volume 1, I believe in Volume 2, we will see Clyde attempt to save Winfrey, as the Veldigan work in pairs and they rely on them. Anyways, time for the final segment, The Among Us. When Volume 0 had come out, a YouTuber and friend of Pastra by the name of David Barron had tricked another YouTuber named The Baddest, but the E's are 3s, that an Among Us crewmate was hidden somewhere in DOAI Volume 0. Soon after, David Barron had convinced Pastra to add an Among Us crewmate somewhere in Volume 1. And he did. After Volume 1's premiere ended, David Barron went live on his channel. The stream was titled Lankman's Challenge. And Pastra had sent a video to David. It was a video of Lankman, not the DOAI canon one, telling David that there was a crewmate somewhere in DOAI Volume 1. And if he found it, he could change Pastra's Twitter icon, banner, and name. If David gave up, however, Pastra would change David's Twitter icon, banner, and name. However, David was persistent, and he found it in the black bars on the side. He was then able to change the Pasta Man's icon, banner, and name on Twitter. Dreams of an Insomniac Volume 1 was a masterpiece in the analog horror world. I highly suggest watching it. The soundtrack created by Lyra Horrors is awesome, and the voice acting done was amazing. Anyways, if you want to see less gameplay and more of this video essay content, like the video. And if you want to support me, subscribe and set notifications to all. Anyways, that was Specimen 02, an analysis on DOAI Volume 1. I'm Solo, and now I'm signing off. Goodbye.